Greetings. This is Ron Keel. Is this Don Dokken I've got on the line?
This is Don Dokken with laryngitis. How are you doing, Ron?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks so much for rescheduling. And if you're up for this, so am I.
I'll give it my best shot. I'll just have to talk quietly.
I get it, man. I know you were on the road this weekend and banged out a couple of shows, so I get it.
And we had to film 4 videos all one day, each song 5 takes. And you're a singer, you know. I don't know how to lip sync. I had to sing them all. I sang 16 times, and then the show and 2 back. So yeah, I'm a little beat up. So I'll keep it. You do the talk, and I'll just say yes.
Well, I already know all the answers to all the questions, man, because I know you so well. But God bless you. I'm the same way. When we do a video, lip syncing is, you got to sing along, and I get that. The video shoots are as grueling as the gigs. So a lot of our people that are listening may not understand that. But God bless you, and thanks for stepping up and doing this. I've just been really excited to talk to you because prepping for this interview, the biggest part of my process is getting to hear this new album over and over again. And I can't tell you how proud I am of you and of your new music. I really enjoyed it, appreciated it, and I'm looking forward to speaking to you about that on the show this week.
Yeah, it was a miracle that we actually pulled it off finally. The album. I'm really, honestly, every band says it's our latest and greatest, but this being our last record, I'm really proud of every song on the record.
And you should be, man. Save it for the interview. I'm feeling the same way. I've been singing all morning as well while working on my new album. If I can, I'll try and keep up with you as we get through this. But here we go. Brand new music from Dokken, the new album, Heaven Comes Down, available now worldwide. And the man behind that music is available on the studio line. I'm really happy to welcome back my longtime friend, Don Dokken, to the streets of rock and roll. Hello, Don. Thanks for doing this.
How you doing, Ron?
I'm doing great, man. I know that off the air we spoke about your challenges this past weekend with doing a couple of shows and multiple video shoots, and not just lip syncing. You were singing along with these video pieces. So for all of our listeners, please bear with Don and I, because we've both been belting it out all weekend long.
Yeah. It was our last chance, to be in a big venue, and because we're using drones and all that stuff, But I didn't dawn on me. 2 shows back to back, flying, and then the drill, Ron. You have to do each song like 4 times. Get the left view, the right view, sing the song 4, 5, 6 times. And we did 4 songs from 10 in the morning till all the way up to showtime, 10 o'clock. Then I had to do the show, another 12 songs. So I thought I'd be okay. I'll be okay in a couple hours. I woke up. I apologize, Morris.
It's okay, man. Well, hats off to your publicist, Doug Weber, for scheduling this interview. You should be taking the day off, man. And I feel guilty just making you talk through this. So we'll try and do the best we can. As an interviewer, there are questions I have to ask. But as a fellow elder statesman of this hard rock and metal culture, I'm pretty sure I know the answers. But this is for the audience and for the listeners. So first, congratulations on this new album release. As a fan and a friend, I got to tell you, I really enjoyed prepping for this interview by cranking it up in its entirety, multiple times, top to bottom. This is a special piece of work, man. Talk about your motivation to create and release Heaven Comes Down.
Well, it's been 11 years since our last record. I had announced I wasn't going to be doing any more records. Because, as you know, the industry and people don't know, it's kind of gone. You bust your ass and spend tons of money and 2 years writing it, and you put it out, and 2 days later it's uploaded on the internet for free, and it's kind of frustrating, so I didn't want to do it. But, when you're inspired, you're inspired. So I just, every time I got inspired. Usually at 2 in the morning, I would start writing music, pick up my guitar, and as everybody knows, pretty common knowledge now, my right arm got paralyzed, so I can't play guitar anymore. So this definitely will be our last record, but we did it. You know, it's a good thing I had John Levin to, you know, recut all my rhythm tracks better. You know, because I had surgery, so the doctor paralyzed my right arm.
Yeah, we know about that. So you were able to actually bang out some tunes and some chords, and John Levin took those ideas and turned them into these epic riffs that we're hearing on the new record.
Yeah, I just kind of, what you'd say, I framed the songs. You know, I got the chords simple, and I said, John, you take it to the next level, buddy, because I'm toast.
Awesome.
But I'm really happy, you know. I guess I was being a little overambitious to try to do Green Bay 2 nights ago, a show Saturday night, you know, 3 hours sleep, fly back to Chicago, fly back to New Mexico. And, you know, and I said, oh crap, I got all these interviews. And I was going to blow them up, but I go, no, Ron's, you know, you and I, we grew up together on the Strip, so I want to do this, you know.
I appreciate that, man. It means a lot to me to have you on the show and just to hear your voice and even after what you've been through this past weekend, because we are kindred spirits. And I can tell you, man, like I said, the best part of the whole deal was getting to hear this record, and it really meant a lot to me. It resonates with me big time. The lyrical content on this album seems really personal. Your heart and your soul, you laid it all bare in these lyric lines, and in between the lines, it seems important to tell us, the audience, the fans, who you are and what you feel at this point in your life and your career. So the lyrics are really personal.
Yeah, you know, since it was going to be our last record, and it doesn't mean we're going to break up. We'll keep touring, but you know, it was pretty tragic when I lost my arm, got paralyzed. That put a shot us. And then Chris McCarville, our bass player, he is a big fan of riding trails on his bike, and he crashed and shattered his arm in 6 places. So he was down for the count for almost 2 years. I didn't want to change members. So, you know, and then John had surgery. So it's just been a long journey for me, and I really took my time I wanted if you hear on the record, all the songs are more of a story, you know, not just about, hey baby, rock and roll, you know. They're all stories about my life and where I've been, where I'm going, where I've came from, like the song Santa Fe. Yeah. You know, because people are asking me, born and raised in L.A., why would I leave? You know, I had my beautiful home in Beverly Hills and all that my whole life, and the beach. But I just decided I just turned 70 in June, and I said, time to leave for a different type of lifestyle. So here I am up in the mountains, very secluded, no neighbors, no houses, 25-acre estate. You know, that's what I'm doing now. And, you know, it was a long, long process.
Oh, I'm happy for you,
and then, of course,
man.
COVID. And I said, well, COVID was terrible, but, you know, it gave us the luxury for Chris to heal, for John to heal, for me to heal. But, you know, the surgeons kept saying, you know, your arm's paralyzed, but just give it a year, it'll come back. But it's been 3 years, and it's not coming back. I can't even hold a damn guitar pick.
I can only imagine how frustrating that is for you, man. And I've got Don Dokken here on the streets of rock and roll. I know. And you mentioned some of those songs, especially Santa Fe. Don, I've caught my share of grief for singing country music from time to time, and you finally caught up with me on this closing track, Santa Fe. What a beautiful piece of music. I love it, man.
Yeah, who would have thought that I would ever write like a kind of a country ballad, lamenting lyrics, and how do you, 4-minute song, how do I write my whole life story in 4 minutes, which is like an impossible task, but I think I did it.
Yeah, you did. It's amazing. And some of the other songs I want to touch on. Fugitive. Lyrics say, I'm a fugitive from life. Your objections are not kind. Is that a message to all the keyboard warriors who like to kick us when we're down?
Yep. They just, hey, I'm infamous. People either love me or they hate me.
I get it, man.
So
And,
I'm just had enough.
personal statements intertwined with the stories on the lyrics to this new album from Dokken, Heaven Comes Down, available now, and the song I'll Never Give Up. That's a perfect response. It's Don Dokken's analogy to Don't Stop Believing and all the other songs that are meant to empower both the listener and the artist to keep on pushing.
Yeah, things have changed in the world. We do these things called meet and greets. And I've met a lot of young, aspiring musicians, and they always ask me the same question: how do I do it? It's hard now, the music world's changed. And that's where I got the idea about the song I'll Never Give Up. You just got to keep going, If you love it, I love it. Me, I've been playing guitar since I'm 10 years old, So you just got to keep going, do what you want. I tell people, hey, Monet, Van Gogh, the most iconic painters in the world, they didn't paint for the glory or the money or the fame. They painted because they loved to paint. And I love to write songs.
I couldn't phrase that or bracket that any better, because it did lead into my next question, because we do have so many strong young voices fighting to be heard, this next generation of artists that are continuing the traditions that you started. And what advice would you give them that makes it's obviously that's why we do it, because we create, we write, we release, we sing, we do what we were born to do.
Yeah, I think it's a genetic thing, my daughter is a classical pianist, so I guess she got the Dokken gene.
Yeah.
But then my son Tyler, I gave him a guitar, and he tried a couple of years, but he ended up being a pilot. He flies for United Airlines, Europe and back. So it just wasn't in his blood,
That's right.
You either got it or you don't. And I always tell people, you can go to MIT. I'm not knocking college. It's good to learn music. I guess my one regret is I never learned how to read or write music, and I don't know how. I can read tablature, but I just, I'm one of those old school guys that sat in the garage after school, and my little amplifier sat next to a washing machine, and just practice and practice and practice and practice,
Wow.
And I never really thought I'd be a singer. I really didn't plan on that. I planned on being a guitar player. But as I was said, the first time I saw Eddie Van Halen, we played with him, my mouth fell open, and I said, this guy's a genius, and I can never aspire to be an Eddie Van Halen. So I said, well, I guess I'll switch to singing. So that's what I did, and so many great guitar players like Randy Rhoads, and that was my genre, playing the Whiskey in 1977, Van Halen playing Quiet Riot in 79, and the Starwood, and the country club. We played, you and I played the country club back out in the valley. That was a great venue. And a lot of the clubs are gone. A lot of the small venues, the 2,000 seaters are gone. Luckily, we kept fighting and got ourselves into arena status, and then stadiums. But it can burn you out. And then I just realized I devoted my life to my fans and my music, and I just figured, well, it's time to maybe devote some time to myself and my dogs and a better half and stuff. So I'm just going to slow down a little bit.
Good for you, man. Good for you. Well, you are slowing down. Apparently, you slowed down this past weekend with 2 gigs on the road and a long video shoot. So you're extremely active on stage. Obviously, still in the game. All the tour dates can be found at Dokken.net. Don, I know some of the most intense moments in our lives are those few seconds when we're walking up the ramp or up the stairway, crossing the stage to take the microphone. For me, it still feels like jumping out of an airplane. What are you thinking and feeling in those moments at the top of the show?
Well, I would say, luckily, no matter how sick you are or tired, traveling for 10 hours, whatever, you like you say, you walk up the ramp, and for some reason, it's like a God thing. As soon as you hit that mic, the adrenaline kicks in, and our fans that, because when you hear the roar of the audience, you just snap into autopilot, and you go for it.
Your resilience, your persistence, your musical contributions, it's all a source of inspiration and entertainment to all of us. The new album, Heaven Comes Down, is definitely the comeback album of the year and should be considered as one of the best albums of 2023, if not the best hard rock releases of 2023. Thank you so much, Don Dokken, for the music, our friendship, and your contribution to our culture. I'm wishing you all the best in life, love, and music, man. God bless you, and enjoy Santa Fe.
Yeah, and in the near future, when my voice sounds a little better, we'll chat again.
Let's do it, man.
I just got home literally last night.
I can't believe you even did the interview, and I really appreciate your time. I would have rescheduled it.
Well, we're personal friends. I see all the interviews I have today, and I go, well, I got to call Ron. You and I basically, we grew up, in my opinion, in the glory days. The 80s were the glory days for me, man. And everybody knows the stories and the biographies, but we grew up in the glory days, man.
Yeah, we have had some amazing times, amazing experiences. I remember the first show that I did after my first major label album, The Right to Rock, came out was with Dokken at the Palladium in Hollywood. We opened up for you, and so many great memories before that and since then, and I'll always treasure this new album that you've released. And if it is your last, like a lot of reviewers have said, you're going out with your head held high. It is an amazing piece of work, and I thank you for the music and your friendship.
Yeah, we pushed hard, and I know COVID's terrible, but, we couldn't tour for 2 years, and I said, well, let's make the best of it,
Yeah.
And we just I wrote 30 songs for this record and narrowed it down to the 14 best, and then got it down to the 10 A songs, and we still got 4 great songs in the can. So I'm hoping, man, I took a prednisone waiting for it to kick in.
Oh, good. If you have any leftover songs, Don, if you have any leftover songs from this record that you're not going to cut, I would love to put a Don Dokken song on my next album. And if you can mention to John Domingal to put Ron Keel on his roster, we can do some shows together.
I would love to. It would be great. I'm actually, the 4 songs that didn't make it were with me playing guitar before my surgery. So,
wow.
Of course, I was disappointed they didn't make it, because those are actually my guitar tracks. And, but I understood, we're putting out vinyl, and, you can only fit 10 songs on a record, but you can put 15 on a CD. So if I would have done that, I would have been in competition with myself, because obviously people would buy the CD because they get 4 extra songs or 5. So I said, okay, we'll just do 10 and 10, and at least we got some in the can, and they're really great. I'll send them to you personally, the ones that are not on there.
I would love to hear it.
Like I said, I'm going to switch gears and probably go into what I've done in the past, when I produced, Great White's first album. Yeah. I produced XYZ's first album. I produced a lot of records in my career, so I'll probably switch gears to that and just slow down a bit I mean, I've had great shows and not great shows singing. Some people say, Don didn't sound very good last night. And I'd say, well, you don't realize what it's like to be on getting 2-3 hours of sleep a night in between shows. And it's just tough, man, because you can play sick, you can play bass sick, you can't sing sick. It goes right to your vocal cords. And but I just pushed it too hard. The 4 songs we sang over the weekend, I realized this was our last chance to keep the videos out there over the next 6 months before we go to Europe, do our last European tour. I got some really bad news this morning. Mr. Udo, who is a legendary Japanese promoter, a good friend of mine, passed away this morning.
Oh, no.
At night. Yeah, Mr. Udo passed away.
Oh, my goodness.
92 years, man.
He was...
He's a legend.
He's a legend and instrumental for bringing you and me. And my sold-out Japanese tour of '86 was one of the best times of my entire career, and Udo made that possible. I am so sorry to hear of his passing. Condolences to the entire rock and roll world. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, he did the Beatles, the Stones. I mean, they said in this epitaph he'd done over 100,000 concerts in his career.
Wow.
As Udo Productions. That's a lot of shows, man. So that was a bummer, but he was such a gentleman.
Oh, yeah.
And always wore a suit and tie. He always showed up dressed to the nines, with suit and tie, and just a really great guy. And he'd take care of us and take us to dinner, and he was just a really wonderful person. And
he was.
So now we have to kind of change gears about going to Europe. And then we're supposed to go to Japan, but he passed. So we'll work that out. And because it's interesting, the fans don't know maybe, is rock and roll is making a huge comeback in Japan with what I would call classic rock, hard rock, metal. I mean, there's techno. I don't like it. I don't like rave music. I don't like it. I don't think it's real. You got to sit down with your guitar, be it country or rock or metal, But, hey, and look, Metallica now is the biggest band in the world. They fought their way to the top, and they're still there. And so shit happens in life. So I just said, I don't care how long this record takes. Every song, what I have to call, I didn't want any filler. I wanted every song to be an A song. And you've done this too. I'm sure you buy a record, hear the video, and and you hear the song. Oh, that's a cool song. You go out and buy the record. But a lot of these bands, the rest of the record's just filler. And I'm like, I can't do that. Every song has to be like Tooth and Nail or Back to Attack, where we wrote records that every song was good on the record.
Absolutely. I knew you wouldn't do it if you couldn't do it right and make it a real statement. Because I had you on the show, 10 years ago, 2012, after the last record, and you said that was the last one. And then we talked again a few years ago when you had the retrospective of classic unreleased material, and you hinted at that point that there was going to be a new Dokken record, but it has exceeded all expectations. And I tell you, man, those, of course, it's part of my job. I'm going to talk to Don, so I have to listen to the record. I have to get in between the grooves, in between every lyric line, every guitar riff. I have to really dig deep and try and immerse myself in the music. And I was so just not surprised, but thrilled and totally enjoyed just listening to it over and over again. It resonates with me at this place and this time in your life, and what you're saying in these songs and how you're saying it with the classic Dokken approach. Just really hit me, and I'm going to be listening to this one for a long time to come.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I took a different road. I wanted to sound like Dokken, my typical way of composing and writing and putting bridges in and codas, and not just a verse and a chorus and a solo, a verse and a chorus and a solo. I wanted every song to be a composition, a song that's, bar one to bar last to be great. So I had the beauty of not being on the road for several years because of all the things that happened. And then, Chris smashes his arm and all this crap happened. And so I didn't realize it kicked my ass so bad. We had to do 4 videos one day. And as you know, you don't just pull the trigger and film a video and go on to the next song. You got to do every song 5 times to get the right angles, and now all this new technology with drones, you can fly drones, over the audience and make it really cool, So we did it, and we kept playing. I felt bad for my drummer. He had to play every song like 10 times, and then we had literally an hour break. We didn't even have time to go to the hotel and check in. We just went and crashed in the dressing room and had a salad. And then we had to go out on stage, and the boys knew I was pretty beat up. But I said, let's just push forward, man, and do the whole show. Played 14 songs and a couple encores. And it was a great audience, and the world's changed. I notice now when we play, there's like kids in their early 20s, and there's 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s. So we've got our fans from the 80s and 90s, and now we have a whole new generation. And I asked them, how do you know about Dokken? You weren't born yet in 83 or 4 or 5. And they all tell me the same story. They say, well, my parents gave me their record collection, and I got into Dokken when I was 12 or 13, but I couldn't go to the shows. I was too young. So now, they can come see us play. So they're all really excited to see us live.
That's fantastic.
So that's a nice compliment.
It is indeed. My parents gave me their record collection. And when I pass on my record collection to my kids and grandkids, your records are going to be in there, my friend.
I appreciate that. I had to laugh a couple of years ago. My son Tyler, he started getting into music, and he'd, he ended up being a pilot. But he said when he come home, and he called me one day, and he goes, "Hey, Dad, I just heard this really cool song. It's called How Many More Times by a band called Led Zeppelin. Have you ever heard of them?" I said, "Yeah, Ty, I've heard of Led Zeppelin." I had to laugh about that.
No doubt, man.
He's getting turned on to that. It came out in the 70s, 60s.
No doubt,
but,
man. How cool is
and
that?
that's one of those, you aspire to write a record like the Beatles did, or Zeppelin, or Sabbath, and, they wrote these iconic records. It's a tough job, that, being a musician. It's, you don't just sit down in the morning, have coffee, and start writing. I'm waiting for the universe to open up and show me some inspiration, either a guitar riff or a melody. That's why this record's so different, because every song is a story. It's not just unskinny bop bop. But, I'm not knocking Poison. It was a fun song, but
sure.
I don't write that way. I'm a little darker lyricist.
Yeah,
and I try to write a little more intelligently.
These songs are obviously very, like I said earlier, very personal. And several songs about lost love on this record. That's a topic we can all relate to. And those songs can be about one special somebody, or you can write a love song about all the strangers in the audience that we've carried on a love affair with for a lifetime now.
It has been a love affair.
Yeah.
A lot of bands came out and go away, but it is a love affair to go on stage. Like you said, you walk up that ramp and all of a sudden, you hear the roar. I have the fondest memories of doing the Monsters of Rock tour for 100,000 people a day times 40 shows. That was pretty amazing, playing with Scorpions and Van Halen, 2 of my favorite bands, and Metallica was on the bill, and Kingdom Come. So that was a pretty, I'd say, a highlight of my career. And I have the fondest memories of Eddie. We all miss him so much. And him and I would sit around and after the show and say, who would have thought that just 10 short years that we went from clubs at the Whiskey to playing stadiums in 10 years. We fought, and we stayed on the road forever, and we pulled it off, But, it's been a long journey, and I think my prednisone's kicking in.
Well, I'll let you go, man. You have my permission.
Right.
You have my blessing and permission to cancel all your interviews for the rest of the day. You're done. Clock out, brother.
All right, Ron.
Man, thanks so much. What a great discussion. I always enjoy catching up with you and really, really respect and appreciate the new music and hope to see you soon, my friend.
You too, Ron. You take care.
You too. Thanks.
Bye-bye.